Hey there guys, this is Mr. Sheenline again. This is going to be the video more or less just kind of showing you how to plug in these problems with scientific notation into your calculator that we'll be really more be using when we get to what's the word? Sorry, dimensional analysis, and which is 5.2, and then especially when we get to chemical measurements, which is going to be 5.4, I believe. It's either 5.4 or 5.5. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Might be even 5.3. But it's later on in Unit 5. I'll just say that. I'm going to be using the Fancy Dancy TI-84 Plus, like the CE edition, this version. So if you have this one, awesome. If you don't, if you have just the other, TI-84 Silver or just a regular black one, or if you don't have a TI-84 that it's one of the Casios, that's all fine. For the most part, the functions are the same. It's just the layout on the calculator will be different. So make sure that you're watching this too, like either, on an actual browser, so like on a computer instead of your phone, just because you'll be able to see this better. So anyway, let's just get straight to it. So I got these two problems here that I want to put into the calculator. And I just don't know how to do that. So I look it up and I find out that, oh, this is actually pretty simple. What I will tell you is that the best habit you can get into when putting things into a calculator is you just know where and when and how to use parentheses. Because parentheses are going to save your life. They can be a little tricky and they can be a little overwhelming at first, but once you get those down and you are in the habit of writing out parentheses, putting them into the calculator and knowing where to put them, how to delete them, how to insert them, you'll be golden. I mean, it will be so much easier for you. It may take just a second longer than it normally does, but your answer should not be wrong. But that's, of course, there are other things that can complicate you plugging in because maybe you put in the wrong number, whatever it is. So anyway, so let's just get to this. So how do we put this into our calculator? So again, the reason why I mentioned the parentheses is because I'm going to be using the crap out of the parentheses here, and I'm going to be putting them everywhere. So in this case, I'm going to start with my parentheses. So I want to make sure that this scientific notation stays together. So I'm going to put in parentheses 1.73, okay, times 10, and then this is where it differs. Now on my calculator, to make an exponent, I have to hit this little up arrow key. So I hit the up arrow key, and now on my calculator, it's like in a superscript, and then I click what I want to put in, so I just have 6. Next, what I can either hit down, I got to hit the side arrow, because if you notice, if I click anything, it includes it in the exponent, and I don't want to do that, okay? I just want the 6. So then after I hit that 6, I hit the side arrow, and now that I've got 1.73 times 10 to the 6th power, I close my parentheses. Okay. Then I just hit my multiplication operation, and then I start a new parentheses, and I just repeat putting in this guy right here. So 2.6 times 10, up arrow key, and then here negative for me is down here. It's at the bottom row where there's 0, there's the period symbol, and then there's this little weird subtraction looking symbol in parentheses. That's your negative symbol. So you're going to hit -2, and then you're going to hit the side arrow again, close parentheses. Okay, because you don't want to close the parentheses in your exponent. You don't want to do that. And then once you double check to make sure everything's good, everything is correct, you'll hit enter, and then you'll get your answer. Now, and this is where it can get kind of tricky down the road. So in this case, this answer is given to us in this form. It's given to us in just non-scientific notation form. but I believe there is. Let's see, there should be a way. Yeah. So there is a way where if you do want all your answers to be plotted out in scientific notation, which I really don't recommend, you can hit mode, or at least on TI-84, you hit mode, and there's on the menu here, for me it's the second bottom, or second from the top option. There's normal, scientific, and then English. I had to hit SCI, which stands for science, and so then everything that I put in, obviously, as you can see here, is going to be in scientific notation thereafter. Again, I don't recommend this. I recommend that you keep it on normal, but if you know how to use that and you think it works for you, go ahead. More power to you. Because I'll just say that it won't work in all cases for you. Like, for instance, here, you really don't need to put this in scientific notation. That answer would be just fine as, to 2 sig figs, realistically speaking. But again, depends on the person. Because, and this is also something you have to look out for, is that it's kind of a moot point to a certain extent, meaning that it really doesn't matter, simply because you have to put your answer in 2 sig figs at the end anyway. So here you would have to just put down, 45,000 as your answer. Here you're putting 4.5 times 10 to the 4th power. It's no different, realistically speaking. But anyway, that's how you can plot that in real quick. So let's just keep on practicing that. So we're going to put this in now. Parentheses 1.8 times 10. Again, and then we're going to not hit that. Then the up arrow key. Okay, not this one, this guy right here that I'm talking about. And then it's going to be -4. We're going to hit the side arrow, close parentheses, divide, parentheses 4.64 times 10 to the 2nd power, close. And then we just, after making sure everything looks good, which it does, enter. And then we get this problem, right? Or we get this solution here. We get the 3.879310345 times 10 to the -7th power. So in this case, again, just like the last one, 2 sig figs is what our answer should be in. So our answer would be 3.9 times 10 to the -7th, which, yeah, that makes sense. Now, and this is again, because I said in one of my other videos that you need to come to this video if you don't believe me when it came to doing these by hand, more or less, or at least doing them, not just plotting in the calculator. I'm going to do them like I did before in the other video and show you that we should get the same answers. So starting up here with this answer first, 1.73 times 2.6, that's going to give me 4.498, which that actually needs to be, because 2 sig figs, it needs to be 4.5 times 10. And in this case, it's going to be 6 plus a -2, which is going to be 4. Okay. Which is exactly correct. So 4.5 in here, this would be 4.5 times 10 to the 4th power, which that is right here. Okay, so it checks out. Let's try this guy down here now. So 1.8. In this case, it's going to be 1.8 divided by 4.64. And so what I get here is actually going to be my answer here is now, and this is where I don't recommend that you I recommend that you don't keep things on scientific notation here on your calculator, because you get answers like that, which you really don't need to get. Okay, so this is what you should get 1.8 divided by 4.64, which is 0.3879 we'll just use because it has to be 2 anyway. Okay, so then, let's see, we'll just make that into 2 sig figs. So 2 sig figs is going to be 0.39, but now we need to put this in, and then let's just carry those 10. So it's going to be -4, because we're dividing, it's -4 minus 2. So then it'll be 0.39 times 10 to the -6th. Now, the only problem is this is not in the correct scientific notation, so we have to take this guy and then move it over 1 to the right, which will then be 3.9, but because we moved it to the right, that means we then subtract 1 from -6, which gives us 3.9 times 10 to the -7th power. Now, again, let's plot that into my calculator here, and let's see if that's what we get. 1.8 times 10 to the -4th, -4th divided by 4.64 times 10 to the 2nd power, close parentheses, hit enter, and what we get here is not what I got. What did I do wrong? Oh, because I put 6.64 instead of 4.64. Boom. There we go. That looks a whole lot better. So 3.879, which will then translate into 3.9. 3.9 times 10 to the -7th power. Okay. So it's really simple. It's making sure that your operations stay localized. They stay locked into where they need to be, and specifically held in by the parentheses. That's really the trick to it. We'll be practicing this more as we get into dimensional analysis, which is just factor-based conversions. So we'll practice more there. And this is just to show you kind of what it looks like to plot it in, all that good stuff. One last thing. So I did mention this a while ago in the notes video, and something that you should have seen on my calculator here. So when I was getting answers, there was this little E here. Okay, and here I'll even zoom in on the E. So this E was popping up right here. Okay, remember that E is the same thing as the times 10. So when you see this E in here, it's the same thing as times 10 to the -7th. And actually, you can put that in there yourself. On my calculator, it is just an E symbol. Well, it's a double E symbol. Okay. Let's see. It is a double E symbol right here. So you'd have to hit second and then E, and then that's how you get that. And it should be the same on like the TI-84 silver. It should be the same thing on the black one. I don't know about Casio specifically off the top of my head, but here it's a double E. So if it's the 1.8 times 10 to the -4th, okay, it's that. And if you put that in, it's literally the same thing. If you put the 1.8e, oops, and I did not show you that, 1.8e, and then you'd hit -4. Okay, it's the same thing. Now here you don't have to, it's not put in sub or superscript, so that's kind of the difference there. Again, if you know how to use this, do it. If you don't, and you're more comfortable, and you're doing this more often, this first option where you hit the up arrow key, okay, this key right here, this exponent key, that's fine. I actually kind of hope you do that because it just looks more like what you'd write down on a piece of paper. Okay, just you got to remember to put times 10. Can't forget about that. So anyway, that is the video. Really short, easy peasy video that hopefully you understand. If you still have any questions, if there's still something you're not understanding here, make sure you get a hold of me. We're going to continue practicing this as we go along, especially when we get to dimensional analysis and when we are in dimensional analysis. And that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.